All right. Welcome back to another Tenement TV. Big episode today. We have Sal, myself, Zach, and a special guest, Sam, joining us from Wolf Sports to talk. We're going to recap UFC 305, and we are going to go through some NFL QB previews. So, first of all, Sal, how are we doing?
Hey, not bad, man. Not bad. It's good to be back on Tenement TV. Thank you for joining us, Sam. Good to
Just
have you
glad to
here.
be here. I'm really excited. So
Lots to talk about today, man. Where we
yeah.
starting, Zach?
Well, we can start with going through all the winners that we pumped out for the UFC 305 last weekend. How about that?
Yeah, for sure.
How did that card look?
That was going to be my first question is what were your guys' predictions since I didn't hear?
I'm not going to lie. It wasn't good for me. I think I was 0-5 until the main event. Duplessis definitely saved me, though.
What about Usyk?
And that one was even looking like dicey heading into to the way it ended.
Yeah.
I think it was 2-1 going into the fourth. So
yeah, they did have DDP up on the scorecards apparently. I mean, I felt like a few of those rounds could have gone either way.
Yeah.
You know, especially with the way the judge.
Oh yeah.
For the first time ever, I think they pulled a judge halfway through the card. You guys see that?
Yeah, I've never seen that.
That's crazy.
Fired on the spot.
I like the best accountability, right?
Yeah, I mean that's certainly something you wouldn't really see much in other sports outside of like maybe a health issue is a referee getting lifted in the middle of an event. But yeah, no, I mean it.
Yeah, I thought that was actually like a meme. Like I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. I was like, is that actually real? I mean, they've had problems with refs, or I mean, with judges before, but I thought it was crazy. I thought the craziest fight, the one I was most shocked at, was the co-main event, Steve Usyk. I was shocked. So, who did you guys bet on in that fight?
Or I had Usyk winning, man. Like I really thought Usyk was gonna, and I thought he was gonna make it look easy. Like he is.
Yep.
I'm a big Usyk truther, man. Yep. Like I think he's really good. Although he's lost 2 in a row now, like I felt like his last performance was great, other than like what happened late in the rounds. And then Kai France comes out of nowhere and just drops him, lays him out.
I watched a few of his previous fights, but like he really wasn't on my radar for contender shot in that division especially. But do you think he'll fight Pantoja next?
I'd love to see that matchup, but I think he needs some time off. You got to let that chin recover, right? Like, I think what a lot of people are saying and what I've been reading is that he kind of got back in the octagon a little too quick, and it kind of showed because, like, man, he did get rocked in the previous fight, and clearly his chin hadn't recovered, right? And it showed. Like that was a vicious knockout.
I know, that was crazy. Do you think? What about the Gamrot fight? Dan Hooker. I'm guessing you didn't bet on Dan Hooker.
I did not. Look, I knew that was gonna be a dogfight for sure, man. Hooker is, man, he's a soldier, right? And we were talking about it. He looks the part now too, with all the tats. It's funny because you see like that the Birdman Anderson type transformation where he's got fully tatted up after not having a single tap before, and man, he's a dog. Like that clip of him in between, I think it's between the second and third round, and he's just talking to his corner, and he's just, man, like I love this shit.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing Israel Adesanya talking about how he's like a psychopath. He's like, dude, no, the dude's an actual psychopath. So I was really excited for that fight. I really thought Gamrot was going to win, so I was kind of shocked. But
I was going to say that's kind of like I picked up on that immediately. It was like, all right, this guy's a wild card. Like as soon as that started, it's just like, man, he has like a chaotic style, and he is just going to go all out, and it's just like almost like street fighting, And it's like you could just tell right away it just wasn't. It was a bad matchup. It was a bad matchup for Gamrot. So
yeah, I was shocked though. Usually the great wrestler and the great grappler usually wins. Usually, but that was an exception. That was a good fight though. I'm excited to see where Dan Hooker goes next. There's a lot of potential fights in that division. There's a lot of potential like guys that are kind of in the middle range, so I'm excited.
Well, and I'll say overall, sometimes you end up getting some stinkers maybe in the main card or some that are clunkers or not a great watch. I don't feel like we had that. I feel like, at every single fight at least had some sort of intrigue or surprise or nuance to it that, some things that went down that maybe weren't expected. So both in the results and throughout the fight. So it was very entertaining at the very least.
Yeah, I thought it was a great card. Who do you guys think is next for DDP?
Ooh, man.
Yeah, he was talking trash to Alex Pereira. He said he's going to beat Sean Strickland and then move up. But
yeah, I'd like to see. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if he really wants to see Alex Pereira. Like, that doesn't make sense.
He does not. He does not want to see him.
No. I mean, I guess you gotta talk your trash and go after the biggest guy, But ultimately, like he's probably like, there's no way that Dana's gonna make this fight, so I'm free to talk as much as I want, right?
Do you think the after his Strickland fight, he'll fight Hamzat or Robert Whittaker again? I guess if Hamzat even fights Robert Whittaker.
Yeah. I don't even know. Is Hamzat? Like, I know he's scheduled to fight, what is that, 307 or something, 306?
I think it's November, so whatever that. I think it's the same as
308 against Whittaker, right?
Yep.
October 6th.
I don't think it's the main card though.
Yeah, that's the co-main.
The main event, yeah.
But you can already see that Dana's definitely thinking that Khamzat's probably not going to fight, and he's got.
Well, that's why they have him at like the co-main event, because you can't have him at a main event again, because like he had.
Yeah, he put another fight. He put the Cyril Gane versus Volkov fight, right before that. So he's got an option to slide that right into the co-main. And like, honestly, like I'm not holding my breath on Khamzat to fight.
No, I'm not either. But I want him to. I want him to fight. Like that's who I want to see against DDP. I don't really want to see the Strickland fight again. I mean, people say that was like a close fight. I think DDP won the fight. People say it's a robbery. I don't think Strickland really deserves, I guess now after the Costa fight, but I don't know. I'm excited for that division. There's a lot of avenues they could go.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll see. I mean, like the Strickland fight for DDP, like I think I think DDP wins. Like I'm a big DDP fan. Like I think that like his style definitely turned some people off. Like they weren't feeling his style. They felt like he was getting lucky, but like it's not luck at this point, man. And like
I think he's undefeated in the UFC. Yeah,
exactly. As funny as it looks sometimes, like man, it works.
Yeah.
What up, Barnacle Boy? We got Barnacle Boy in the chat. DDP,
oh, perfect.
Barnacle Boy, man, you made the pick for what was it, Carlos Prates? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah.
Prates, so. Yeah, that was a nice fight too. That was the first fight of the main card. That was a good pick, man. We should have rolled with you. I was on the other side there, unfortunately.
Do you see Islam Makhachev called out DDP?
Yeah, I saw that.
He said he'd move up 2 divisions.
No? I don't think. Man, I think DDP.
That always feels like empty threats.
Yeah.
It's one thing to like put that out there. It's another thing to do it and like actually kind of make it all happen. I feel, but I don't know. I mean, crazier things have happened.
Yeah, going up 2 weight classes is. Do
you think Leon will move up and fight DDP?
I could see that. Actually, I could actually see that. But did Leon fight?
I think he said he's moving up.
Before, right? He did, right?
Yeah, he did. I think early on in his career he did, but then he moved to welterweight, and I think he said he wanted to move back up. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, but I feel like Leon at middleweight was not a success, if I remember.
He's not as fast.
Yeah. But stylistically, like, could he hold his own against DDP? I mean, if he can somehow maintain some speed or something like that, I mean,
I'd watch the fight. I think it'd be entertaining. I think if I was Leon Edwards, I would move up. I'd take my chances with DDP over Shafkat. Like, I'm not fighting Shafkat if I was Leon. So
yeah. Oh, for sure. If I'm Leon, I'd rather see DDP than Shafkat.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. We got a lot of good events coming up. Even what is it? UFC 306.
Yep.
The Sphere.
That's
yeah,
O'Malley and Marab, right?
Yep. Did you see what they're gonna do for it? They're gonna have like each fight, they'll like tell the story of Mexican combat sports.
Oh yeah, that's the one at the Sphere, right?
Yeah,
man,
I think that was pretty cool.
Crazy. Man, I was in Vegas a couple months ago, and I just drove by the Sphere, and I'm like, man, this place is like, even the outside, I'm like, this is incredible. Like,
you just want to go in. Yeah, it's like I want to be in there for anything.
That was before they even announced that UFC was doing an event there, and I was telling my brother, I'm like, man, like they got to do a UFC card here. This is incredible. And they did the NHL draft there, and like I saw some videos from that. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But I know the UFC is cooking something special up.
Yeah,
and they got all the card too, right? Lots of there as well.
Yep. I can't wait. I think that's gonna be the fight of the year.
I wish I could go, man. What are tickets, like $6,000 or something?
You know the worst part is, so like I turned 21 on that weekend. I'd be like, I'm gonna go. It's in Vegas, the first time I go. I look at tickets, and to have two tickets next to each other, they're like 13,000 each. Like there were decent seats because there's no seats in there. Like compared to other venues, there's no seats in there. And then I found ones that were like way up for like 3,000 to 6,000, and I was like, that is ridiculous.
I'll say it seems to be the one thing that James Dolan may have actually done right. So, for all of his misgivings with the Knicks and everything else that he seems to have ruined, this is like, man, he finally got something right.
I did not know Dolan was the owner of the Sphere.
He's like, he's like the whole deal behind it, like the driving force. I mean, he kind of like runs the show. So, and maybe that's why the Knicks have also been good while he's had his focuses elsewhere. Maybe there's something to be said there as well. It's like, get his focus off of the Knicks. The Knicks get better. The Sphere's amazing. So who knew? That's all the Knicks needed all these years.
All the Knicks advisors probably telling him like, make a couple more Spheres everywhere else, man.
Right. It's like, hey, should we maybe make one in another country? Like, what do you think?
Did anybody? Okay, the weird thing is I never saw it being built. Like, I just saw it appear one day.
It showed up. Yeah, like that's how Vegas construction goes. It's just like they just plop it down. It's like Sim City out there.
Literally, yeah. Just spawns.
All right. Well, we'll definitely, we're looking forward to that. UFC. We'll have plenty of preview content coming up as we get closer in and approach that. Sam, I'm sure we'll be hearing from you.
Oh yeah.
As we head towards that. If you're not already, if you're here with the Tenement Gang, make sure that you jump on and follow Wolf Sports on Twitter as well. That's where Sam's at. So, like I said, we'll be collaborating on a lot of content here moving forward. So
Hey Sam, what do you have? Like, what do you guys have planned for the weekend? You guys have a space tonight, and then
So we have no space tonight. So we have a space tomorrow night. It's like a gambling and parlay space. So we kind of bring experts in all the different sports because there's no sports really going on right now. So we have like football or NFL futures, UFC guys, tennis guys, soccer guys, and they all just put parlays in the comments. We go over them. And then tomorrow we'll do our UFC space. So we'll probably just go over UFC 305, where everyone's kind of going after, who's everyone going to fight. And then maybe we'll touch on a little 306. So both of those are at 5 p.m. Eastern, Friday, Saturday. You guys are welcome to come. I think we've been talking like Tenament's going to be a co-host to some of our spaces. So it's going to be great.
Definitely looking forward to it. I don't know if I'll be able to join this weekend, but
no worries, man.
On the next one, I might be able to join tomorrow though. Happy to do it, man. Honestly, it's always good. We're in the dog days of some.
We'll be in there tomorrow. Yeah.
Dog days of sports in terms of the sports schedule, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. NFL's around the corner. College football. The corner. We got NBA starting again soon. So we made it, man. We made it through this. I
don't know about you guys, but wait, who are you guys fans of? I gotta hear this first in the NFL. Now you have a Toronto Blue Jays hat on, so who do you like?
I'm a Steelers fan. Unfortunately. I grew up a Steelers fan. Like before I even watched the NFL, I was just playing like it wasn't Madden back then. It was NFL Game Day.
Yeah, I was gonna
whatever,
say
something like that on PlayStation 1, man. And Jerome Bettis was just a monster. So I would run the ball with him every single time, and I became a Steelers fan just off that.
Zach, what about you?
So I've grew up my whole life as a St. Louis Rams fan, and like kind of but I live in Indianapolis now. I'm a Colts season ticket holder, so the way I say I'm a Rams fan by trade, I'm a Colts stakeholder. So I'm invested in the Colts' success. I root for the Colts. I'm wearing a Colts shirt right now, so
I was going to
say
I'm
to be good. Yeah,
I'm in Indiana right now, so
you are.
Yeah.
Really nice. All right.
I live right outside Chicago, so.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you're one of the few people that don't say, "Hey, I'm from Chicago," and when you're on the Indiana side of things, so which is great.
There you go.
As we'll segue into that, so
you guys are neighbors, eh?
Pretty much.
Yeah, maybe about an hour and a half, 2-ish. It's all right. In 49 states, it's just basketball, right?
Oh, yeah. You know, I had to come in here because I am so excited for the NFL season because my team, the Chicago Bears, actually, has a shot to, do anything other than just suck. My entire life, they've just been terrible. Like, we've lost to the Packers every year, guys. Like, I live by so many Packer fans, it's not even a joke. I am so ready for Caleb Williams, like, ecstatic. So that's what I'm most excited to talk about.
I couldn't imagine. It's the most excited that you've been about a quarterback since Justin Fields. So I give you a hard time. I still think they went the right.
Trubisky.
But I feel like there were always, ironically, both of which have gone through the Steelers. So I'll say with Trubisky and Fields. So
we've just given them away.
Yeah, it's just the Steelers pick up the Bears sloppy seconds after they don't perform well.
And somehow they make the playoffs, and we seem to be in the top 5 picks every year. So it's really mind-boggling.
I will say I've given a lot of buddies that have mine that were Bears fans certainly a hard time over the years, to the point where it wasn't even fun anymore. It's like, man, like this is just actually like I feel like I'm just being mean at this point. But they have real reason to be excited this time. Legitimate reason, you know, Matt Eberflus coming out, like their defense. He obviously turned them into a very stout defense last year. And it all begins and ends with the quarterback play. So
we don't have a really tough schedule for the first 9 games. We have Caleb Williams. We have receiving weapons everywhere.
I will say within those first 9 games, I think the Colts are in those. So the Colts and the Rams both actually, I think, might be in both of those first 9 games. So I'll be seeing a lot of Caleb early on in the season.
You guys think he's the real deal?
I think, you know what? And no one will believe me when I say this. I said 2 years ago he was a top 10 quarterback in the world then. At USC, I think he was sensational. I thought the Patriots were going to get him. Especially at the beginning of the season, the Patriots were terrible. I thought they were going to get the number 1 pick, and somehow Carolina didn't win a single game, and we got their first-round pick, and we got Caleb Williams.
Look, I mean, I've seen him make some great plays. He has some great abilities. I mean, I remember watching at Oklahoma even, and it's like, okay, like this guy kind of looks a little bit different. I mean, I definitely got some fatigue with the constant Patrick Mahomes comparisons, where it's like, can't we just cool it and just like wait? And, Patrick Mahomes we're watching stuff that like we haven't seen before. Like, let's pump the brakes before we immediately start making somebody out to be the next Patrick Mahomes. Anyway. The only thing that I say is that he thrived a lot on like a lot of the off script stuff and the off schedule. And like, I watched a lot of the Pac-12 After Dark. I loved watching those late night games, but at the end of the day, Caleb ended up a lot of time. Now their O-line sucked, but welcome to the Bears. That's how they've been too. So even all the way back to a washed up Orlando Pace, trying to masquerade as the corpse of Orlando Pace back in the Mike Martz days. It's like he's going to be running around a lot too. Like every rookie quarterback that you see they're constantly running for their life, and he's going to be doing that too. So maybe there is some of that element to his game that's going to, prove useful here. Yep. However, those guys aren't as open, on Sundays against Green Bay and against Detroit and against some tougher defenses than they are against Fresno State late night on a Saturday night. So that's where I think he's going to throw some picks. He's going to make some bad turnovers, but so did Andrew Luck. He saw some of that too. And you know what? He figured it out. And at the end of the day, Caleb's aggressive. He's athletic. And I think it's going to be entertaining and fun to watch.
Yeah. Look, he's going to throw some picks, whatever. Like it's part of man, you're a rookie quarterback. Like it's expected, he's without a doubt super talented, man. I'm not going to subscribe to the next Patrick Mahomes. I'm with you on that, Zach. But man, I do think he is the real deal for sure.
I'm glad we're in agreement here, guys.
Sam,
I'm thrilled.
Sam, are you saying how many you're predicting 4 or 5 Super Bowls for?
I would be happy with. I'd be happy with a playoff appearance and NFL. I'd be happy with an NFC title game within the first 3 years. Just that's all I'm asking, just to be competitive. Oh my God, we might actually make the Super Bowl this year. I've never said that, and it doesn't help. The Bulls, they've been terrible too. Every team is terrible here. So.
Well, what doesn't help is that 2 of those teams are owned by the same horrible owner. And that's where I start to really feel empathetic towards my Chicago brethren is, man, if you can, the Redskins have been freed from their plague of Daniel Snyder. It's about time that we need the Bulls and the White Sox have paid their dues. It's time to get Jerry out of there. I mean, it's time to move on.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
But
I know the only thing I'm really excited for is I don't think the Bears' O-line will be as bad as previous years. We've drafted a couple guys. I also think because we have so many weapons, someone will get open. It's when he's scrambling out of the pocket. We have DJ Moore. We have Rome Odunze.
Mm-hmm.
We have Keenan Allen.
That's right.
We have Cole Kmet. I'm okay if he throws picks. I'm honestly okay if we don't even make the playoffs this year. I just need to see some talent. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, and I think you're right. That's where there's been a lot of darkness the last couple of years. And even with the flashes of brilliance from Justin Fields, I think there was a lot more of wanting him to be good than, he made some exciting running plays. But at the end of the day, you got to see some passes with your quarterback. And there wasn't a lot of that with him. I think they made the right call overall. And albeit maybe a tough decision at the time because you're we haven't fully seen what Justin has. It's yeah, but you know what? You're resetting the clock. You're kind of starting back over. You're the path to success is getting an elite quarterback, getting as much out of him on a rookie deal as you possibly can. And those days were coming to an end with Fields, and they're starting anew with Caleb Williams, who might be better. So,
yeah, we got a take in the chat here. Barnacle Boy thinks Phoenix will have the most success quarterback in this draft class.
So I tell you what, I love that because as an Indiana guy, I loved Michael Penix Jr. I was very sad when he transferred, although I understood it. He just had a tough time at IU, took some injuries and, blew out his knee a couple times. But when he went to Washington and Kalen DeBoer, who was the offensive coordinator at Indiana with him, went to be their head coach, I became a satellite Washington fan because I'm these are my guys. These are my guys out there. That's my quarterback. That's my offensive coordinator out there that are coaching this team all their way into a national championship against Michigan. So I've loved Michael Penix.
I thought they were going to win that game.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's electric. I think he's looked really good. Certainly, people can say, what are the Falcons doing? Why are they getting Kirk Cousins and then drafting him? It's a waste, whatever. But I don't know. Nobody ever ruined their franchise by having too many good quarterbacks.
Well, especially with the injury risk, Penix has towards ACL twice now, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
And I'm honestly, ACL injuries, obviously very significant injury, but also it's not as bad as it used to be. You know what I mean? Surgery, ACL surgery's come a long, long way. I think he makes like, I don't think that's going to hinder him. Not now, anyways. What he tore his ACL in 2022, right? Like, it's been a couple.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a couple years. Like,
he had some shoulder injuries with Indiana too. I mean, he was just like constantly banged up.
Right. Anyways, you gotta have a backup quarterback, or he's got to be your backup quarterback just because of the injury risk. Kirk Cousins, obviously a good fit there, but I'm not sure how many games he's going to start before they like, is that expected? Like, Kirk Cousins, the week 1 quarterback?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I think he's getting paid like $40 million.
Oh,
like
yeah, he got
like,
a paycheck.
Yeah,
he got a paycheck. I think it's more like the we've seen so many quarterbacks, like rookie quarterbacks, sit behind a veteran, and they turn out pretty good. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's a primetime example. You also have, dare I say, Jordan Love. Like you have all these guys that have sat behind guys. So that's what I think they're going towards. Like, hey, we're gonna have you sit behind Kirk Cousins for a year or two, and then take the reins. That's what I would bet. Now, I think he will turn out better than Drake May and JJ McCarthy. I just don't know about Caleb Williams, and I don't really know much about Jaden Daniels. So, but yeah, that's a good take. I mean, you could be looking like a genius 3 years from now.
Well, and everybody likes to look at, oh, well, he's older because he was, what, a fifth-year senior, and maybe he had a COVID waiver on top of that. So, like, he was in college for a while, definitely much longer than any of the other quarterbacks that came out. But I don't know. I don't necessarily view that as a detriment. That's just extra years of playing. That's extra years running an offense. It's not like the old days where you had – I mean, there is a learning curve, but these are – a lot of these offensive coordinators and guys that are trying to implement things in the college game are coming from the NFL. They're running pro-style offenses to try to entice NFL prospects to their program. Hey, come, we'll showcase you and get you ready to be a high draft pick. So I don't know that gap is as big as it used to be.
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
But I'm glad that he brought up Penix, because that was one that I did want to get into with that, because it's I think he's an electric player
everywhere.
Exactly.
They have. Well, I love Kyle Pitts. I mean, Kyle Pitts might be the best athlete at tight end. They might have the best athlete at running back. They have one of the best offensive lines. I don't know much about their defense, but yeah, that's a great situation in Warm City. I mean, if I was drafted there, I'd love it.
I have Pitt's traumatic stress disorder from believing in him every year in fantasy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm the guy that says, I'm not going to do it. I'm done. I'm done with Kyle Pitts, and every year I can't quit him. And I mean, I can keep lying to myself and say, hey, I have no interest in him. This time I'm really done. I'm quitting Kyle Pitts, but I don't know that that's going to be the case when we get around to draft day. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man. I was gonna ask, are we drafting Kyle Pitts again? Like,
personally, man. I am. I have to. You have to.
You don't have. You must not have the scar tissue.
I am not drafting him.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's going to be the worst part. The people like you who have stayed clean of the Kyle Pitts misery, the pits of misery. You guys are like, oh my God, this guy's like in the bargain bin. This is a perfect guy.
The worst thing is, I was gonna say, the worst thing is people like me are gonna draft him and he's gonna have a big year.
Yeah. You're gonna be like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think he's great.
I don't know why you guys hate him, man.
Yeah.
I think if I'm going for tight ends, it's either him or Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah. Love Kincaid.
I don't want Sam Laporta that high where he's going. He's good. I don't want Travis Kelce because he'll go higher than he will produce. Mark Andrews, injury risk. I have him win probably my biggest league. I have Mark Andrews, unfortunately, but yeah, I don't know. I like how
we're starting to see a lot more teams introduce two legitimate weapons at the tight end as well. Yep. Even getting back to Mark Andrews, like Isaiah Likely is great, like a great complementary tight end to have. I know back in the day, it was always, well, you have one blocking tight end and one receiving tight end. Now, I mean, teams are out there running 11 personnel and running two tight ends out there on routes. So it's,
I think it'll kind of swift into like more the running back position. Is like you have the top 3 or 4, 5 guys that take the whole load, and then half of them are, they share the load with another guy. That's what I think the tight end position will eventually be. I think it'll get better in fantasy wise later. You know what I mean? Like the gap in fantasy was so large at the tight end position that, like, if you had Travis Kelce, you won 2 years ago. I mean, he literally was like.
And I think you're right. For a while, it was always like there were 3 guys, and if you were outside of those 3 guys, you were just playing tight end roulette every week, and you're just kind of hoping and praying, man. Like, I hope Pat Freiermuth can get me like 2 catches. yeah. You know, but like, if you were an early Pat Freiermuth adopter, you know, that might have not been as fruitful as it is now. Like now, he's a guy that. He has a high floor. You know, it's a dependable guy that you can go to. And I think as more and more teams are starting to feature the tight end and look to those like intermediate passes, and there's a lot more athletic players that are getting into the tight end position. You know, you're starting to see that we're finally getting some depth there at a position that's been a wasteland for many years in the fantasy realm.
I will say I'm very excited to see Trey McBride. Just because when I had Zach Ertz, I think it was 2 years ago, and Kyler Murray played, Zach Ertz got like 12 to 15 points a game every week.
Yeah.
I think, and Trey McBride's, of course, a better version of a washed up Zach Ertz. So I think he's another one you could be going for.
Is George Kittle healthy?
I don't know because nobody's talked about him.
Here's the thing. I don't know if he's ever fully healthy, but he's never hurt enough to not play. Mm-hmm. He's always just kind of out there. Like, that's just a guy that it's just another Iowa tight end. I mean, when in doubt, just take an Iowa tight end, right?
Yeah, tight end university.
Yeah.
I think he's really good. Well, in fantasy-wise. I know he's great on the field, but, like, fantasy-wise, like, if you could snag him later because he drops because no one's really talking about him, then he's the 5th tight end off the board, I'd feel great about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some like tight end rankings that have them like 7th, 8th, 9th, and I'm like, man, like that's a bargain at that price. You know
I was gonna say it's a bargain at 5 or 6, but 7, 8, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure, injury risk, but like, man, that applies to everyone at the end of the day. Like, if you're getting Kittle that late, like you kind of gotta go with him.
No, I agree. Wait, I have a good question for you guys. So we'll say 10 to 12 person leagues. What do you think this year is the best position to be at? PPR. Like if you could pick your spot this year in fantasy, what would it be?
I think middle to end of the first round.
Okay, that's what I said. I said like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I had in my leagues, I had top 3 picks across all my leagues last year, and I got burned. I mean, Justin Jefferson burned me. You know what I mean? I
had Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Jamar Chase. Like, man, and I actually ended up with both of them in one league, like preseason, and I'm like, man, this is my year. You know what I mean? And I got burned so bad. Like, for the first time, I think I missed playoffs across pretty much all my leagues except for one. And I was like, and just off the strength of picking early and getting burned. I do think that in the late first round, there's a ton of options that are super high ceiling. And then having that second draft pick early, like, man, like I think that's a spot to be in. And I was reading something about last year where the most people who drafted late in the draft, like at the end of the first round, they ended up winning. Yeah.
I think the dude that won mine, he might have been 11 out of 12. I think he was because he had 2 back-to-back picks. But yeah, this year it's pretty tough. I mean, I kind of hope I get a higher pick. I kind of want Tyreek Hill. I do not, or Justin Jefferson. No, Jamar Chase. I mean, I do not want Justin Jefferson. I do not want Christian McCaffrey.
Well, you'd be perfect because in my main draft, I have the number 2 pick, and I hate it.
I think you're winning. Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill.
So I was looking more toward. I mean, obviously, I would love to have Christian McCaffrey. That's not.
You think he'll fall? I was gonna say. You think
that's not going to happen? I'm looking at. I think either Bijan or Tyreek Hill, and I don't know that I have any real legitimate options outside of that. I mean, like,
you don't think Jamar Chase?
I don't know.
Okay, I will say I took him last year and it burned me so bad. I thought he was having a huge year. He got hurt. No, No, he played.
And
Joe
Burrow was hurt. Yeah.
So he didn't do good. And then they, like, from week, 4 to 7, he had, 50, 30, 36. And then Joe Burrow broke his thumb or whatever it was. And then my team just.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, is he? Surely he's going in the first round, I guess. I don't know. I feel like on this, I think number 2, any of those guys, anyone's in play for number 2.
I was going to say, I think the top 5 picks are Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, and Bijan. In any order you choose. That's what the drafts I've seen. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I know that what I'm hoping for was 1 through 3. I was like, if I could get like Tyreek Hill, Pacheco, and like Josh Allen as those first 3 picks, would be maybe my ideal. Yeah. So hopefully nobody in my league's watching this. But I will say, moving forward are there any other of the rookie quarterbacks that you guys might look to for fantasy or just like general interest as a whole? Obviously we kind of touched on Caleb Williams. It kind of goes without saying the excitement that he brings to the table, but Bo Nix just got named the starter for the Broncos. So I know a lot of people are maybe surprised about them kind of going up and grabbing him that early. JJ McCarthy already blew out his knee. I know we talked about Penix, so I don't know. I mean, any thoughts there with Nix?
You can go first, Sal, unless you want me to take it away.
I'll just say I'm not drafting any other rookie quarterbacks. That's for sure, man.
Really?
Like, I don't know. Like maybe in my keeper league. It's a startup league, so I'll look there. But honestly, it's too much risk. Like the percentage of rookie quarterbacks that don't live up to potential or have significant issue, like turn the ball over way too much. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not dooming my dynasty or my keeper team by over investing in a rookie quarterback too early. That's not. Top 2 guy, right? Like top 2 rookie. Like that's it. Like I mean, depending on where Penix is drafted, I'll look at him. You know what I mean? But like beyond those top 2, like I'm not in on anybody.
I was gonna say, I agree. In one of my leagues, though, I do have Jaden Daniels. I snagged him in one of the later rounds.
Jaden Daniels, yeah.
I think Jaden Daniels is pretty good. I think he provides both running upside. The only thing I worry about is they have Austin Eckler. So how many times is he going to dump off goal line touches to Austin Eckler and not take him in for himself? And I don't know how much he's really going to put up in the air. So that's the only thing I'm worried about with him, but I'm going to keep him on my bench. The other one is not a rookie, but kind of a rookie. Anthony Richardson. I know you're going to love this. He played 3-4 games last year. He was amazing fantasy-wise. That's who I'm looking at in fantasy. So, if I'm taking a Jaden Daniels, I'm not going to take an Anthony Richardson. I'm going to go with one of them and kind of get a safer Kirk Cousins bet later in the draft. But those are kind of my no other rookie quarterbacks to answer your question.
Yeah, I've seen enough of Anthony Richardson to draft him. That's for sure, right? I would way rather have him than any of those other quarterbacks outside of Williams and Penix.
I had him last year.
What I would say, though, on the Anthony Richardson front is that, I mean, just being honest, there's a decent chance that he's going to get injured at some point. Just like the style he plays, the way that he kind of throws himself out there, he's running. The production, especially from a fantasy standpoint, can't be questioned at it whatsoever. That's undoubtable. But maybe that's a scenario where you get that Richardson. That's a good time to maybe invest in one of those Jaden Daniels, maybe one of these other guys that if and when he goes down with an injury, you at least have kind of a fun alternative to slot in there, maybe a high upside guy that you could grab at the very end of the draft for nothing.
How's that?
In Indy? I think Indy's O-line's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think they've
the O-line, they've been good over the past couple of years. I mean, I think it's not as much he's not getting beat up behind the line. He's running down the field and not learning how to take a hit.
He's like Cam Newton.
Because he's huge. Like yeah, he's enormous. So like he's not going to – you kind of have to learn that and like train that muscle to know how to slide and like get used to giving yourself up. And when you're that big, it's just not something that comes naturally. You know, you're like, hey, I'm going to deliver the punishment here. I'm not going to absorb it. So
you know, that's what he's been like just drilling in on since he got injured. Like, man,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Man, at Florida, he's running people over. So
I mean, look, you never want to see him taking it. You never want to see your starting quarterback take an injury, especially young in his first year. But if anything, I think, you know, it was a good situation overall because, hey, he got out there, he got his licks in a little bit. He kind of got a little bit of his sea legs. And then he got to actually have the benefit of standing from the sideline and learning the game the whole season without all of the media tension of quarterback controversy. Like, oh, should you be out there? Why aren't you starting? You know, why aren't you in there over Gardner Minshew? Like, there wasn't any controversy, but he just kind of got to learn and be a student of the game, which most of the quarterbacks that we've seen that from almost all say, hey, that was very beneficial. From Patrick Mahomes to Jordan Love, like even Aaron Rodgers, as much as he still holds that grudge. I mean, these guys learned from the sidelines, kind of learned the game without that pressure of feeling like they had to be out there. And maybe, you know, if there's a rose-colored glasses lens to look through, I think that it was beneficial maybe for him to get injured.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he sat behind. Gardner Minshew is, you know, and their team, what did they go, like 8-9?
They were essentially like a couple plays away from being in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think they're bad
going into the final week of the season. It was down between them and Houston to get to the final playoff spot, and they lost that head-to-head game. So, I mean, Houston, a team that it's like everybody's trendy big pick to dark horse to do well this year. So, you know, if Indy converts that fourth down, you know, maybe Houston wouldn't have even been in the playoffs. Yeah, you know, Minshew could have been into the playoffs. So I don't know. You know, it just goes to show like the margins are razor thin in this league, and it doesn't take much to change your fortunes in either direction. So I will say the only other rookie quarterback, I guess, that's like expected to be in a prominent position is really Drake May in New England. But I don't know that that's a situation that's really exciting anyone outside of the New England area.
I don't know how good he is. I mean, if I was them, I'd make him play every game and just see what you got there. Like, there's no point of keeping him on the sideline.
Right. Yeah. Get him out there, take his lumps. I mean, you already know what Jacoby Brissett is.
They also have that
Joe Milton. Who I know that people have been pretty excited. People have been excited about Bazooka Joe in the preseason, but I think he's coming off some knee injuries as well. But I don't know. You know, there's never a better time as an NFL fan than when your team has a young quarterback who hasn't played yet. I mean, it's like that is probably the best thing outside of winning a Super Bowl. The most excited that you can be is having a rookie stud quarterback who hasn't played yet because you haven't been disappointed yet. You only view positive outcomes. You know?
Yeah, well, and I think it has to do with also like, especially in the AFC, you have literally like 12 young quarterbacks. So if you don't have a young, like, rising quarterback, you're not winning the Super Bowl or not getting to the Super Bowl. Like, so like with Drake May, like maybe you have the upside to like, you know, be that good. I mean, you have literally like 12 Pro Bowlers in that division or that conference. So yeah, that's why I think New England fans are so excited. Like maybe we do have one too. I mean, everyone's hitting on quarterbacks now. So
I will say, Sal, as a Steelers guy, are you leaning more towards Justin Fields or Russell Wilson as your starter? Are you looking for Steelers country, let's ride? Or are you looking for the former Thanksgiving Day MVP? Or did he win an MVP or was it only Trubisky that won the MVP?
Yeah, no, that was Trubisky.
I think it was only Trubisky. Okay. Nick Foles won the MVP. So, yeah, anyway, Fields and Russell Wilson here. Where do you land, Sal?
I'd rather see Fields on the field, man. Honestly,
agreed.
Like Russell Wilson, like cool, like I mean, he's playing for his career at this point. You know, he signed a 1-year contract, bet on himself. You know, minimum contract with $1 million. Like he's looking for a chance to prove he still got it. But ultimately, man, man, go with the young guy, man. You're like the Steelers are not good. You know what I mean? They're really not. You know, you got to.
I've seen a lot of people talk about how they're like a dark horse playoff, and I was like,
I don't believe it, man. Like
they're the worst team in that division.
Exactly.
Like they are. And it's like, you know, that's a tough division. Oh, yeah. I know that we've come to respect the Steelers. I love Mike Tomlin. But at the end of the day, I just don't know that they have, you know, like I said, it boils down to that division's a bear, and they have a question mark at quarterback at best.
That's why I would go with Justin Fields. Because, like, I remember my dad used to tell me, like, as a Bears fan, like, you can't win the division with the worst quarterback in your division.
Yeah, you can't.
Like, you can't. There's no – not even, like, top 2. Like, you're at best 3, but that's why I would go with Fields, because Fields has more upside. Like, Wilson, you know what you have. Like, Fields, I mean, who knows? The Bears might not have even cracked his potential. I mean, knowing us, we probably didn't. So,
yeah, you got to see what you have there ultimately, right? But I'm not even sold on our like the receivers. Like, George Pickens, he's nice.
Pickens is good.
Deontay's gone. You know, I think that's a major hole there. I mean, obviously Deontay's also never healthy, right? And always a risk to be out any number of games. But like, man, I don't like the target, the options on offense, right? Like I don't know.
I mean, I think you have a potential number 1 receiver, top 5 receiver.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that. I mean,
well, let's see. I like if Fields can get on the ball, right?
See, that was our problem. Is we had DJ Moore, who isn't as good as George Pickens, but he never even got the ball. So
exactly. And I was bullish on Moore too, right? And I'm like, man, he's got to get the ball here, and like it just so inconsistent, and not all of it his fault, right?
Yeah. Wait, speaking of the AFC North, okay. So here, I've said this in some of my spaces, and I just get crapped on for it. But the Browns to make the AFC title game. Like last year, they made the playoffs with Joe Flacco. Before Deshaun Watson got hurt, they came back and they beat the Ravens, who were in the AFC title game. They beat them in the midway point through the season, and then Deshaun Watson goes down. They have an amazing offensive line. Nick Chubb comes back. Great, best defense in football. Where do you guys stand on them? Like, I'm curious.
I'll be honest. I would love to see Jameis Winston starting for this team.
Over Deshaun Watson?
Yes, absolutely. I just haven't seen that much from Deshaun. I don't know. Ever since Deshaun Watson came back, like, there's something to be said when you take over a year off from anything and you come back, you're not going to be nearly as good when you get back. Like, you're just not. And there's going to be a little bit of learning, and especially something like NFL starting quarterback, which is one of the most difficult positions that you could play in all professional sports. So I don't know. I think I love their coach. I think Stefanski is a tremendous elite NFL head coach. Obviously, as you said, their defense is elite. They have great pass rushers. They get pressure. They have good coverage on the back end. They do have some good offensive weapons, even outside of just Nick Chubb. But I don't know. Deshaun, it wasn't the same Deshaun. It wasn't the same Houston Deshaun. And we haven't at any point since he's gotten to Cleveland seen the Houston Deshaun back at any point. And at least with Jameis, you kind of know, like, he's going to be out there. He's going to be a gunslinger. And I think maybe that's a little bit of what Deshaun lost, is like everything was just, he was throwing too many short passes, short intermediate passes, trying to hit the high percentage throws, but he wasn't advancing the ball. They weren't moving the ball down the field. And I think with Jameis, at least you get a guy who's going to take risks, sometimes for better or worse, but he's going to sling it. and he's gonna move the ball down the field, and he's gonna make shit happen. So that's where I would like to see Jameis out there. I think he's a better leader. He's a better leader of the team. He's a leader of men. Reverend Jameis. I'll take him as a leader of men over Deshaun any day.
Wow. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I think if that happens, Deshaun Watson will go down as like one of the biggest what ifs in NFL history. I mean, the dude went from maybe the second best quarterback in the world behind Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, like, to like literally like, where is he? Like, where did he go? Like,
to the massage parlor.
Yeah, I guess that's where
a few too many times. Yeah.
I haven't watched preseason, but I remember a couple weeks ago I was reading up on Deshaun Watson and training camp and stuff like that, and everyone was saying that he did not look good. And I don't know if he's played preseason at all. Like, I'm not sure.
No, he's hurt. His arm is sore or something.
I don't put anything into the preseason.
No, I don't put anything in preseason either. But like the training camp stuff, like the word out of training camp was that he did not look good at all.
I just feel like it's bad vibes. It's bad energy. Like the whole situation surrounding him. You know, he came into Cleveland. They gave up King's ransom to acquire him. Gave him a huge contract extension immediately, knowing that he was going to miss the entire next year. I don't know. I just feel like it set a bad tone. I understand from Cleveland's standpoint. Yeah, they were so desperate to just have anybody that was relevant to be a quarterback.
Well, it's kind of like the thing I was saying. Like, I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Justin Herbert, you have Trevor Lawrence, you have CJ Stroud, you have all these guys in the division, not even, let alone leaving your division, Joe Burrow and Lamar. Like, with Baker, you're not winning. So it's like, go out and get the one quarterback on the market that could be a top three. And unfortunately, did not work out for them.
Yeah, I'm all for swinging for the fences. Like, I think that's, and I mean, I don't know about the extension and all that, but like, you swing for the fences, you acquire the talent, and hopefully it pans out. Not sure it's going to pan out, to be honest. I'm with you there. But I'd say you give him the shot before you give it to Winston. That's for sure.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, this is his last shot. You could probably have like 6 to 8 games.
All I know is I've seen Jameis eating a lot of W's out there. I have yet to see Deshaun Watson ever eat a W.
Right.
I can't say I have either.
All right. So outside of, like, I know we have some disaster quarterback rooms. I know that one thing that I am looking forward to is seeing Justin Herbert with Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. I almost said San Diego. I feel like I'll just always call them the San Diego Chargers. But, you know, the Chargers are a team that just feels like all their weapons are constantly hurt all the time. I know everybody made out Brandon Staley to be the village idiot, but
Quentin Johnson.
He's still there. Right? Yeah.
No, I know. Are you guys high on him?
He honestly is like the classic prototype Chargers receiver. Like, he kind of is built like and looks like the same as like the Mike Williams and these guys that they always seem to get. They always draft like the same type of receiver, and then they get hurt, and then they're, you know, halfway through the season, they're just trying to scrambling, and you're like, every year in fantasy, you find yourself either scrambling towards a waiver Chargers receiver or running back every year without fail. You're on the third or the fourth string guy down the line where you're like, hey man, like this guy on the Chargers, he's up to get some touches, you know, so hopefully they can stay healthy. I do believe in Harbaugh. I do think, you know, I think that it's bringing in J.K. Dobbins and is somebody that I'm going to be interested in. Speaking of guys that I've been burned by over the years, but I still believe in J.K. Dobbins, and I believe in any running backs in the Jim Harbaugh system.
I agree. I really like him. I had Justin Herbert last year in fantasy. I think he's probably second best quarterback in the world, like talent-wise, and he's up there. But somehow every other of the top 10 quarterbacks are in the playoffs, and he is never in the playoffs. It's like, so.
All right. Well, the last thing I'll say is that at least when I'm targeting quarterbacks, I like to look at the guys that maybe they have that floor of rushing yardage. Like if I know some of these guys, like even somebody like Kyler, who I feel like is kind of going way later than he should be, you're going to get 5 to 8 points on rushing production every game from him.
The problem with him, man, is the new Call of Duty actually looks good, right?
Yeah.
The new Call of Duty looks good, man. It looks promising, man. They're gonna bring back Verdansk for Warzone, like that. That's rumored. So, like, I don't know how much focus you're gonna get out of Kyler Murray, man.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I don't know. I'm staying away from Kyler Murray. I've never been a Kyler Murray fan. Now that might burn me, but I'd much rather go with like a Jaden Daniels over Kyler Murray, or Anthony Richardson over Kyler Murray, or let me think of someone else on that level. I don't know who else is going around Kyler Murray, like a quarterback wise.
Yeah, where's Kyler Murray even going?
I feel like, he's going pretty late, I think. Late. I was even shocked to see how late that Justin Herbert was going in some of these
Justin
drafts.
Herbert always goes late because they don't think he has a rushing upside, which he always gets rushing touchdowns.
He does. No, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. And he's another guy that's kind of good to look at rushing props for games because it'll be he's a guy that's like kind of like Mahomes in that sense where his rushing total will always be like 12 and a half, 15 and a half maybe. And those guys, they end up with a downfield route. They escape, they wiggle out of the pocket, and then there's wide open space. And they might get all those yards on one play, and they're fast and athletic enough to make that happen. So that's where I like. Yeah,
I'm drafting Justin Herbert this year. Like I don't know about anybody else, but I think he'll go higher as drafts get later and later because of Jim Harbaugh. But I'm big on Justin Herbert.
So we got Kyler. Kyler's going here as the 9th quarterback.
Who's 8th and 10th?
Yep, I was going to say 8th is your guy, Jordan Love, and 10th is Dak Prescott.
Okay, I'll take Dak Prescott over either of those guys. But I don't know. I don't know about you, Sal, but I don't want to hear any more Jordan Love stuff.
Well, look, like after Kyler, like later on, you've got Caleb Williams, you got Tua, you got Herbert, and those guys are all currently getting drafted after Kyler Murray. If I'm gonna swing for something like QB9, you know what I mean? Like I'm probably going elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Like if I'm already drafted that low, I think I'm going for the high upside.
Yeah, exactly. And if I can afford to wait another round or two to do it,
because I don't think the gap between 8, 9, and 10 is that different than 13, 14, 15.
I was going to say, just for reference, we do have Caleb Williams going at 13 on average. Brock Purdy, 11, Jaden Daniels, 12, Caleb, and Tua rounding out the top 14.
Yeah, I'd probably go with any of those guys over Kyler Murray, but although I'm
Justin Herbert all the way down at 17.
Yeah,
17,
which seems crazy to me.
That's gonna change for sure.
Yes, but I don't know. I'm excited. We are doing what I can't wait for, and this will be the first time we're doing it. We probably should look into doing something like this because we're doing our fantasy draft on a space. So I am curious on what this would look like. But yeah, I'm excited. I think you guys should do this for your fantasy drafts. Have all the people. How many people can you bring up here?
Ooh.
10. 10 can come up on stage.
There you go.
That's actually, yeah.
Yeah. Can you pull up a draft board?
Yeah, you can do anything on this.
Dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You guys should do your fantasy draft live.
Might have to.
We might.
Yeah. Good idea.
Well, speaking of which, heading into the weekend here, we should make some picks, or at least give the people some picks in the app as we head into the weekend.
Are we? Hopefully not.
Well, we do have NFL preseason featured in here if we wanted to go there. If anybody had some strong convictions that they felt regarding the NFL preseason, we do have the Colts and Bengals, and we have the Bears and Chiefs. So, Sam, if you were feeling strongly about your Bears,
I think you'd bet on the Bears. Personally, that's who I would bet on. But okay, Tenament's a pretty cool app. I was looking at it.
Yeah,
cool.
we got some cool stuff coming up. Like you can see like obviously some of we just implemented an NFL here just in preparation for the season. We got to change those colors, by the way. But we've got a whole new layout probably dropping tomorrow. So a whole UX update, which I'm really excited about. I was hoping to kind of showcase it a bit on this episode, but we'll go through it next week. But that'll be live tomorrow evening-ish. Definitely much improved on the UX side. NFL is going to be fully featured. If you missed it, we added the English Premier League last week. MLB, WNBA in session. So you go in there, make your picks, earn reward points, and you'll be very, very soon able to redeem that for a bunch of different stuff like merch, tickets, token, the whole works. So it's all free to play. Plus, we got the leader. What's the leaderboard looking like, Seth?
I was just gonna say, because as somebody who's been perched atop the leaderboard for quite a while, I missed one day of baseball picks, and I got buried into the weekly and monthly leaderboard.
Yeah,
like I went from sitting pretty comfortably to like I missed a day, and like look at this, I dropped down to 5th, so completely buried out of the cash. Just goes to show how important it is to get those picks in every single day, because if not,
dude, I'll have to join with the Wolf Sports. I gotta have Wolf Sports on the top of that leaderboard.
Yeah, you need to get in there
for sure, man. Especially when September rolls around, we set the monthly.
Oh yeah.
Probably I'd be adding the weekly cash prizes too. So let's see how you do it, man.
Yeah, I'll be doing it. No, I can't wait. I know this week's a little hard because like I don't know anything about baseball, and I don't know. I mean, I can talk baseball, but I don't know much to bet it, and I don't know anything about soccer.
So here's what I'll give you. I'll lead you into the weekend, right off into the sunset, with three good soccer picks to get you on the board. All right. So if you want an upset pick, I do kind of like fading the public here, taking Brighton over United. I wouldn't give that necessarily as a lock, but if you wanted to kind of fade or maybe sprinkle, maybe take Brighton on the double chance. I don't hate that at all. The picks I like the most, City, it's chalky. Just take it. That's a free win. They're going to beat Ipswich Town. Don't even think about it. Just pick it and move forward. I like Tottenham at home over Everton. Everton did not look good in their opening match. I do think that maybe they're trending in the right direction with Sean Dyche, but overall, I mean, Spurs are good at home. They looked good in match day 1. I think I like them to kind of protect home court here, home field, home pitch here. And then the last one is, and it's not going all the way down there, but that's fine. Liverpool over Brentford, home opener at Anfield. They're not going to lose their home opener at Anfield on Sunday. It's just not going to happen. Put it down. It's going to be first time for Arne Slot, their new manager, first home game. They looked great last week, so put that one on the board. They do generally struggle with Brentford and their style, and I do like Brentford as a whole, but they're not coming into Anfield and winning. So take those 3 wins, get on the board, and take your points.
I will.
Yeah, I'm tailing for sure, man. I don't know enough about the Premier League to not agree with everything you're saying, Zach. So I'm tailing for sure. Yeah. This time next week, though, we'll be going over Week 1 NFL and making our picks.
Hell there. Yeah.
Really excited about that, man.
Do you guys do the same show every week at the same time?
We've kind of varied the times a bit depending on.
I know you said you switched, yeah.
Olympic basketball, obviously the Euro Cup, like things like that have switched up the times a bit. But
I'll say we've done a couple outlier like live watch along streams. I think generally speaking, we're going to try to look to get into this Tenement TV Thursdays at 2 p.m. time slot. It just kind of all rolls off the tongue. So,
dude, you guys let me know anytime you need me. I'll be in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, good to have you here, Sam, and we'll be definitely in on the Wolf Sorts segments that you guys do, the Twitter Spaces. Yep. That's 5 p.m. tomorrow and 5 p.m. Saturday this week, right?
Yep. There you go.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Hey, Zach, Sam, appreciate it. Been a good conversation. Looking forward to seeing all this NFL stuff unfold, right?
Oh, I can't wait. Caleb Williams, baby.
Let's go. Let's go.
Cheers, guys.